So for the lower face and neck, I'm using two different depths, 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters, at an energy of 25. I'm only using a topical of 23/7 lidocaine tetracaine. It's been on her for about 40 minutes. I find that it's easier to work section by section, so I'll do one half of the face, the other half, one half of the neck, and then the last half. I don't know if that's a placebo effect, but my patients just report it's more comfortable if I work in smaller sections, as opposed to removing all the topical and then going straight into a full treatment. She was prepped with HIPAA, but I still love these little chlorhexidine alcohol applicators. We'll let that dry. So you have your instant antiseptic with alcohol, and then your bacteriostatic agent, which is your chlorhexidine. I like to do multiple treatment depths, just because you're looking at a zone of coagulation that's going to happen when the RF energy is delivered. And that zone of coagulation is going to be 1 millimeter superior and 1 millimeter deeper than your actual depth of penetration on your machine. On most faces, I do 2 to 3. If they haven't, she's a runner and very fit, so if I hit her with a 4 on the lower face, it would probably be really uncomfortable. But if it was like a thicker guy in the submental area, you could definitely go back with a 4 and get a great treatment.
So right now he's at
2 and 25.
So
now I'm on cycle mode, and the reason behind that, I do like to double stack pulses on each of my passes, just because you're getting more thermal energy, more coagulation, and in the long run is going to give you a better treatment result, as long as the patient can tolerate it. With the cycle mode, I've played with fixed and I've played with cycle mode. There is a half-second delay on the shortest fixed mode that they offer, and I can tap my foot a lot faster than I can wait for 2 pulses to happen. However, if I do have a patient that is experienced discomfort, the fixed mode with double stacking is more comfortable, as opposed to hitting them twice with the needles for each pass.
So when you double stacking for the anxious patient?
For the anxious patient, I would put it on fixed. So like this one's cycled, so I'll start underneath the jawline. So there's a foot pedal under here.
2 millimeters?
This is 2, and then my next pass will be 3. So I can pulse, okay, so that's cycle where I'm hitting it twice. Now we can go fixed, so I just have to hold my foot down on the foot pedal itself. The needles will deliver the energy. There's your 2 pulses. Now you can see if I tap my foot, it's a lot faster.
Right.
And sometimes if I'm doing like anterior thighs, I mean that's a very long appointment on some people. So I prefer to just keep tapping my foot to make it, the energy deliver faster versus waiting half a second in between each of my pulses.
It's really just how quickly you can move. So if you want to keep your foot pedal pressed down and just move the device, then you can do that instead of pressing the foot pedal each time. So it's really just an ease of treatment.
The fixed modes, the needles stay out and just pulse, and that can be as fast as 1.5 pulse per second. Cycled mode, the needles come in and out every time at the fastest is 1 pulse per second.
And you overlap by 50% at least.
I'd say about 75.
75?
When you look at the surface area of the needles itself, it's probably less than 50% of that, which is why I
You can see that.
70%.
Yeah, you have to do a really tight overlap to make sure that you're getting.
Right.
And you don't want to be, you got to realize there's a box around this.
Right.
That's why you have to overlap.
But you'll have to notice too, if a patient has thinner skin, you're probably going to want to treat more superficially. And then with that being said as well, with the feedback mechanism of this, if you're too deep into the tissue and you're past the subcutaneous space for some reason or touching a muscle, it's going to detect a higher impedance and it's not going to fire the energy. It'll let you needle them to death, but it's not going to give them the RF.
Uncoupling.
Yeah, it's uncoupling or bad coupling.
You're going to do a session with 2, then a session with 3, and why do you do that?
I like to create multiple zones of coagulation, so superficial to deep, just to, theoretically, if I'm only using a 2 millimeter depth, my zone of coagulation is going to be between 1 and 3 millimeters. However, if I extend it to 1 millimeter deeper, I'm going to have a zone of coagulation from 1 millimeter to 4 millimeters, just using a 2 and 3 setting. I have the opposite theory where I like to go superficial first and where it hurts more. So the second pass when the skin is already desensitized and angry, to me, I've tried it both ways. My clients just say, whatever you did the first time worked better than whatever you did today.
So the pain is better?
The pain is more well tolerated.
If you go superficial.
If you go superficial deep.
Okay.
So with our technology, arcing was more of a concern, you know, sparks basically. With the new software, that doesn't happen because it'll only fire when it's coupled, which means
Totally coupled.
Right. Yeah. So if it's not going to fire. So it's
Great thing about the safety of InMode. They really have worked a lot on that. So.
And I know there was a discussion, everybody kept saying contraindicated in patients with keloids. Well, we use it to treat scars.
Okay.
So don't be afraid. I mean, again, as Spiro said before, when they did the FDA work that did this, that was a exclusion criteria, patients that had keloids. But in the real world, we use this all the time. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to do this a month or two off if somebody's on Accutane.
actually a lot of the patients that come to us for Morpheus don't want to be on Accutane.
Right.
Right, and that's a good reason to do something before the derm is going to put them on Accutane.
Okay.
I try to get all my patients not to take Accutane now. I'd rather do something like this.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because, you know, that's a tough drug.
It's a hard drug because we have to follow something called iPledge. So
Right.
females have to be on birth control, you have to wait 30 days. Give me 30 days, I can fix most of their problems.
The longer I've used Morpheus, the more aggressive I've become because it's just a very safe yet effective device. So when people are, the only limitation is that if you go up to a high power, it's painful. And the more superficial you get, like a resurfacing is more painful than a deeper treatment. But beyond that, if a person's under general anesthesia and you're doing Morpheus, you can go up to 50 power and do multiple passes in multiple stacks, and you don't really see issues with the hair loss at all.
And she's just doing it local anesthesia right now, so you're not missing anything. So the other, I do want to make a comment because Eris said something and I want to just add to it a little bit. There were studies done 20 years ago with monopolar radiofrequency, firing monopolar radiofrequency over injectable HA fillers, and you don't touch them. So I know what you said, but those were series of patients that got treated. It was two in the Red Laser Journal and in Derm Surgery. There were 3 articles looking at every laser at the time that we had, and nothing touches the filler because your fillers are going sub-Q. We're not putting anything into the mid-dermis or superficial dermis. Every filler you inject goes deep dermis and sub-Q, and this stuff doesn't go deep enough. Monopolar RF goes deep, and it goes into the fat, but we didn't touch fillers. So again, I just want to make sure everybody understands that, because his results were great, and I'd love to see that again. But again, this was a series of like 50 patients. Each laser was and each RF deep heating was studied.
Hey, Rez, guys, a little bit regarding fillers, because this comes up a lot. Fillers melt at 1,000 degrees. So if you have a bovie cautery, or just like Michael said, you're going to melt the filler. Our stuff, the microneedling for Morpheus, you are about 80 degrees, and beyond that, 1 millimeter, it drops down to 50 degrees. So it's not melting the filler. Even though we're at 4 millimeters, we can go subdermally. At that point, even if that's the case, it's not going to melt the filler. However, we do tell patients, wait for a couple of weeks, only because you can have distortion from the filler, or bruising, or swelling, or something like that. So you can be pretty confident that at this point, the Morpheus does not melt filler.
The active acne has been demonstrated. You've got great results. I think the tightening aspect that you all demonstrate with Morpheus8 and with Eris and Lisa and Neil Ship are phenomenal. And a lot of it, especially in the derm community, we don't think of microneedling with RF for skin tightening as much as you all maybe in plastics do. And so I think there's a huge opportunity out there to teach. Because I have more devices than I know what to do with, and I just would use the deep heating RF component for my tightening, but this combination approach, again, publishing it, is going to be, it's you win. Morpheus is insulated, which means that when the needle goes in, it goes through the DE junction, and then it fires and you're getting the entire length of the needle is getting RF energy. Okay, with some of the other things that we will play with, the energy just comes out at the tip.
So I've treated the lower face on 2 millimeters and 3 millimeters, both at an energy of 25. I went to fixed mode and 1.5 pulses per second because it's pretty quick, and I don't want my foot to get tired. But the one side of the face I treated my superficial to deep, and on this lower part I treated deep to superficial. Could you tell the difference? Because which one was more excitable?
You know, one thing that Lisa said that I think was important, and I learned from her, that she says I do at least 1,000 pulses on the face and neck. And I think it's true. With radio frequency, once there's a threshold, once you reach that threshold, that's when the result comes into play. So when you're doing bipolar radio frequency, you hit target temperature, you shouldn't just come off. You should stay there for 30, 60 seconds and treat through that. That's where a lot of the result comes out.
So I first chose that I'm using a 24 pin. I'm at a depth of 4 millimeters. I did an energy of 35. So, and then I put it on fixed mode, and my repetition is one. Let's see how quickly I can move today. And I basically took Cihaz to message formula A, and I put in 30 per side.
30 sides.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many treatments do you recommend for around the knees? Again, that's a non-surgical area. That's not a gap area for surgery. That's just a non, yeah. Now, how many treatments, like Morpheus, spaced a month apart?
If I'm really
3 to 5.
I'm talking 20 minutes.
3 to 5?
Once an hour, maybe.
Yeah, 45 minutes
Okay.
an hour.
See, I think the Morpheus, the best Morpheus results I've seen in my practice with David is
Yeah,
the ones that have done 3 to 5 sessions. I mean, some of those results are amazing. You know, that crepey skin in the very thin, aging female. I mean, there's no treatment for that surgically, and I think it's the best non-surgical treatment out there. And it, you know, and it's very well tolerated. And patients love that. I mean, I don't know.
That's triple stacking, Lisa.
Notice how firm she's pushing down that.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Are you good? Does it hurt? Is it good?
No, it doesn't hurt.
So I'm first starting at a depth of 4 millimeters. I have an energy of 35. I'm actually triple stacking. And see how I'm spreading out the skin? You'll treat a better surface area if you actually are spreading out the skin. And I'm on fixed mode, so it's delivering the energy pretty quickly. And then next I'll go to 3 millimeters.
Okay, you're triple stacking, so yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely have to do that. The thing is, that's good for local isolated areas.
There's so many people that want tightening of the area above the knee, and again, I didn't know what to do before Ulthera, but now this works really well too.
About 500. It went back to the
500?
so it reset. So I did about 500. So I did a layer of 4, right? Triple
You did 4
4 at
passes?
35, triple.
So I did 4 millimeters, triple stack.
Okay.
Okay, so I did 1 pass of that.
And that was 35
And that was at 35.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I did 3 millimeters at 35, double stack, 1 pass.
Okay.
And then, so I skipped 2 millimeters and went to 1 millimeter. At
So you did 4, 3,
4, 3, and 1.
1?
And then I went to 1 millimeter and did 2 passes at 30.
Okay.
So about 500 pulses.
So you're basically just kind of working your way up.
Exactly.